Hello, I'm Police Commissioner William Dwyer. Welcome to another season of Police Journal. This program will give you an inside look at the Warren Police Department and highlight other issues that impact our community. I always welcome your comments and suggestions. Please feel free to email me at wdwyer@warrenpd.org. Thank you and enjoy the show. Hello, on this segment of Police Journal, we're going to be talking about holiday safety. And our guest today is Lieutenant Louis Galasso. Did I say that correct, Lieutenant?
You certainly did, sir.
Good. Well, welcome to Police Journal.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, Lieutenant, you've been with the department, I believe, since 1987?
That's correct. I started out as a cadet in 1987.
Why don't you kind of take us through your career and some of your assignments?
Sure. As you stated, I was originally hired in September of 1987 as a police cadet. I worked for approximately 1 year in our communications center, dispatching. Unfortunately, in 1988, there was a police and fire layoff, which I fell victim to. So I was away from the city, or out of the city's employ for approximately 1 year, then called back in 1989 as a police officer, went to the academy, and since then I've had just a fantastic amount of assignments. I feel undercover officer for about 3.5 years or so, as well as working in the Detective Bureau as a major crime investigator. Worked as a sergeant for the Commissioner Vose as his staff sergeant, and went back to actually supervising the narcotics unit for a while before being promoted to lieutenant. Where
when were you promoted to lieutenant?
Actually, it was a leap year, February 29th of 2008.
I see. Very good. Very good. Well, Lieutenant, you're in charge of our traffic division for the city of Warren, and I know you're in charge of that. Also, you're in charge of the jail detention area. Why don't you talk a little bit about your responsibilities as far as being in charge of the traffic division first?
Sure. Actually, the traffic division falls under the patrol services division, and I would like to emphasize the fact that it is very service oriented. Some folks all like to equate traffic enforcement strictly with receiving tickets, etc. But there's a plethora of other responsibilities and duties that we have within the patrol services division. Certainly, traffic enforcement is one of the larger segments. We have 12 officers that are assigned. Their daily duties and functions would be to basically educate the public in traffic safety, enforce traffic laws, and aid in the engineering as well with our streets and signage, etc. Of the 12 officers, 8 of them are assigned motors, which means they ride motorcycles when weather permits, and the other 4 are primarily in what people would recognize as a semi-marked car radar enforcement.
I know the general public is always concerned about a traffic division because they're primarily responsible for writing traffic violations. I know that you kind of instilled in your people that be professional out there. As you indicated, you enforce the traffic codes, the traffic laws. That's a responsibility that you have, that we have. We want to prevent accidents. We want to prevent fatal accidents, and you have to have officers out there enforcing.
That's exactly true, Commissioner. It is extremely important knowing that people that not only live in Warren but that work here and travel through the city would be assured that the city and the police department does its best to maintain safety at all costs. Last year we had approximately 3,700 accidents.
How many fatals?
We had 7 fatals, 1 being caused by a drunk driver, which of course I'll touch on later. We had about 900 injury accidents. Of the 900 actual accidents, 1,200 people were injured. And again, about 85 of those accidents were caused by drunk drivers.
Okay. Yeah, just to clarify to the public, we're really not out there to really make revenues for the police department or for the city. We're out there enforcing the laws, that's all. So any revenues that come into the 37th District Court as a result of a traffic violation, that revenue does not come back to the police department.
Absolutely correct. Correct. A lot of people equate it with way to subsidize revenue, and
Right.
that is not it. Again, it's the 3 E's is what I like to call it. Engineering, education, and enforcement are the primary function.
Very good, very good. Let's talk a little bit about our detention area. I think we've arrested so far this year over 5,000 persons for various crimes. And I don't think the general public realizes how many people, unfortunately, are committing crimes. Even though I must say, through the month of October, crime is down about 9%. Serious crime is down 9% compared to the same period last year. And last year, serious crime, violent crime decreased by 23%. So we're really doing a great job out there. So the men and women that are out on patrol, the people that are working our surveillance units, our drug units, our detectives, I think everybody's really working together. And I think we're getting a lot of help today from the community. We're bringing back a neighborhood watch, which is something that is desperately needed in this city as it is in any other city.
Sure.
So, but when we talk about arresting people, it's something that, you commit a crime, you pay the consequence. Simple as that.
Absolutely.
So in your detention area, why don't you talk about that just a little bit?
Well, you touched on a very important point, that crime is down. However, our arrests are consistent with past years where crime was actually higher. In fact, it has actually increased. Last year, we had approximately 6,750 people that were processed in the Warren Jail. Mm-hmm. Now, that is a relatively high number, of course. It's by far more than any other city in Macomb County. And of those 67 plus individuals that were arrested and processed in our facility, about 3,200 of them were felons. So again, that demonstrates the amount of work that our patrol officers are doing, being vigilant and very conscious about criminal activity that would be afoot. Some of the duties that the jail personnel have, obviously, would be the processing of prisoners upon intake. That would be photographs and fingerprinting. More importantly, and what people a lot of times do not recognize, is that they spend an awful lot of time monitoring prisoners. Every 45 minutes to an hour, they make a cell check. They are responsible for distributing medication for those who come into the facility, and it seems more and more people do require medication. So therefore, we have to be very, very vigilant about the times that they should be getting drugs administered to them, prescription drugs administered to them. Also, they are responsible for feeding prisoners. On a given day, a typical Monday, we will have about 40 prisoners in our facility. The facility has 27 cells.
27.
So it shows how tight the quarters can be, and I think the detention staff does a remarkable job in handling all the intake.